Welcome to Check Your Life Be Limitless podcast, the place where we distance ourselves away from what separates, discriminates, and produce hate to run towards a consciousness that welcomes, embraces, relates, and produces inclusive love. I am your limitless host, the one with the most, Dr. James Arthur Williams. And this is season 4, episode 4. And the show is just basically titled Answering Some of Life's Most Challenging Questions. So some people gave me some questions, but I also pulled some of life's most challenging questions from ChatGPT. So I think it's very, very important for us to address that because there's a lot of people that's going through life, man. What is my purpose? What am I doing? What am I hanging on to? And they may say, well, it's just me that's focused on these questions, but it's not just you. There's a lot of other people that deal with this as well. And I'm also going to be checking the comments. So if you all want to say some things, I'll also try to address those questions. But going back to that, there's been a lot of questions that I had to address in my life. There's still questions that I address. And even though some of you may look at me and say, man, this dude is so confident, he knows what he's doing. There's a lot of questions that I still have for God or my idea of God or my conceptual knowledge of believing in God, because it all comes down to belief. Not saying I'm right, not saying you're wrong. It just all comes down to belief. And I think that's what makes it beautiful to serve. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and start with today is a glorious day. And for 86,400 seconds, I will give my excellence and my best until I'm laid to rest. I'm abundantly blessed and never stressed. Be better than your best and never rest on your last success. Check your life. Be limitless. Let's bring it. All right. So the first question that I want to address that somebody asked me is, what is my purpose? How many of you can say, hey, that's a question that I have asked myself? Well, that's a question you still ask yourself. What is my purpose? Why am I here? What does all this mean? You know, and I grew up Southern Baptist. You know, so I'm just going to give a background story. All my life, I believe that it was all about living right or doing right and earning a ticket to get to heaven. Earning a ticket to get to heaven. You know, but as I got older and I started reading the gospel for myself, I realized you can't earn anything. Because if you believe in Jesus or Yeshua, how can you earn anything? The price was already paid because Jesus gave his Christ on the cross. So once I started understanding that, I realized, well, you can't really earn it, but you got to accept that this happened. And once you accept that Jesus died on the cross for your sins, according to what I believe, this is not knocking anybody's belief, then once you accept that, you have your ticket to heaven. But then church or religion also taught me that's not good enough, because it's not just about accepting God. It's also about accepting God. And as soon as you realize you sin, ask for forgiveness for your sins. But it was always confusing to me, even though I read in the Bible, God is not the author of confusion, because a lot of these sins was handpicked sins. If you lie, if you have sex before marriage, if you do anything that these adults don't do, then these are the things that you got to always ask God for forgiveness for. But as I continue to read the Bible and understand the Bible, I realize a lot of things that these people do in church every single day is a sin. Gossip, gluttony. Let's keep it real. There's some people that just consume, eat, and use it as a sport. You have pride. You can't tell them they're wrong. So all of these things. So the more I started realizing, hey, what is this really about? It led me back to what Jesus said. He said, the greatest commandment is to love God with all your heart and love your neighbor as you love yourself. And that covers all. So once I started really focusing on it and judge not, ye be not judged, I can't judge you for what you do. You know, I started living a life to say, I'm trying to be as righteous as possible and not focus on what I'm doing wrong or what people are telling me I'm doing wrong, but how can I be righteous? How can I live a life that is really about loving myself, loving this God, this infinite intelligence, this ubiquitous spirit that I serve? And it's not an idea of a man God, but it's just this thing that has masculine, feminine energy, all of this, chi, whatever you want to call it. That's what I believed in. So once I started buying into that philosophy, I realized, to me, life is a human experience. And how can I get the most out of this human experience? How can I live a life that goes beyond everything that some finite individual told me, and to see that it's not about my race, not about my ethnicity, not even about my job, not even about their idea of success. It's about, do I wake up every single day saying that I think my creator will be proud of the creation? And that's mind, body, and spirit. Am I putting in the best effort to have the best body? Am I putting in the best effort to have the best mind, to be wiser? Am I putting in the best effort to try to make sure I'm building this relationship with what I believe is God? And notice what I said, what I believe. I could be wrong. That's what faith is. So an atheist, I don't want you to think that, I'm attacking you, because I even believe a lot of people are not atheists. Because if you believe in yourself or believe that you are God, I can honestly say that you're made in God's image. So either way you look at it, from my perspective, I believe all of us are connected to the source spiritually, our spirits. Our flesh, I think, engage in things that allow us to deviate from what our inherent truth is. And our inherent truth is to love, and to love unconditionally. But we're taught to love with conditions. And if people are not fulfilling those conditions, then we disassociate and we eliminate them out of our lives. So my purpose is to try to get the most out of this experience, mind, body, and spirit, and to share that with other sentient beings so that they can get the same out of their lives. That's why I'm here. I think for you to find out why you're here, it's a journey. It's something that you're going to have to figure out every single day. What do you love to do? What do you love to do if everything paid $1? If everything paid the same, what would you do? And then I give myself the 10-day rule. I think this can help you out. If you had 10 days left to live, what would you do with your time? I can honestly tell you, if I had 10 days left, I would still give one last speech. I would still try to acquire knowledge and share as much as I can with people before I die. I would still try to get the most out of this body. So even if I can, just do a push-up, I'm going to do something with that. I'm still going to try to be around the people that I truly love and that I appreciate. So I'm doing everything it is that I feel like I'm put on this earth to do. So figure out, what is your 10-day window? What would you do? Ask yourself that question. I think it'll start guiding you to why you're here and what your purpose is. All right. The next question is, what is the meaning of life to you? I think the meaning of life to me is to try to leave this world in a much better place than what I found it. Not the world. Some people can say the world is getting worse. That's cool. I focus on what it is that I can do. I want to try to make sure people continue to be curious. I want to, and when I'm saying curious about who they are, curious about what the world is out there and what they can get from this world and how they can share that in a loving manner. I also want to make sure that I'm educating people in a way to where they're finding out who they are. Everything I'm doing is trying to get you to find out who you are and why you're here. That's very important to me, because I want you to be the best version of yourself. I want you to win. I don't care if you don't like me. The content I'm giving is to even to the haters. I want you to win. It's nothing you can do to make me not want you to win. I don't care who you are. I want you to win. That's just how I'm wired. So that's why I do what I do. That is my meaning of life. And this goes along with the question that I answered earlier. What is your purpose and why am I here? These all come down to, you got to be willing to ask yourself, what is the meaning of life to you? So the meaning of life to me is to make sure that I'm doing meaningful work, creating meaningful interactions with people. And every time I meet a person, I want to leave them with, man, that person really saw me. Yes, I saw you. I saw your spirit. I saw your soul. I saw you, not this avatar, because I feel like you are great and I want you to get the most out of life. I really do. That's what I'm about. So that is my meaning of life. Meaningful interactions, meaningful work, and to leave this world in a much better place than what it was when I found it. All right, the next one is, what does success mean to you? Success used to mean a lot of different things when I was younger. I wanted to be the best running back. I wanted to be better than Barry Sanders. And you could smile. I wanted to be him. It was a guy named Montreal Coley that was a beast at Goldsboro High School. I wanted to catch that guy. I wanted to beat him. I wanted to be the best running back in North Carolina. I wanted to be the best running back ever. That was a goal. And I thought that would be success. And that was the only thing I cared about. And when that was stripped away from me, it felt like somebody died. And I had to start looking for something else, because I had 2 kids at the time, 2 kids that I love, but I didn't want to live. So think about this. This thing that I thought was success, when it was stripped away from me, I didn't even want to live for something that should be more important than playing football. So what happened was I had to find myself. Who am I? And realize that you're not a football player. You're not this so-called thug. You're not none of them things. But who are you? And once I was able to figure out the answer of why I'm here, what is my purpose. I'm a person that just love life, man. You know what I'm saying? It ain't about being hard. Look, if I see you, I love you. I don't give a damn. I really could care less what you are. You could be white, black, you could be Latinx, whatever. If you met me, you know this dude gave you genuine love. This is in Tijuana, this is in Bulgaria, this is in Korea, this is wherever. I'm giving you love because to me that's important. So with that being said, success to me is how can I make sure that I live life with unconditional love every single day. I can live life with joy and I can find peace in every situation. So even if you've been trying to be, by the world's definition, an asshole, how can I still give you unconditional love? How come if you say something or call me out the name, I don't decide to put these hands on you? I love that. And I can still find joy in that interaction and I can find peace in that. To me, those are the three things that really drive me. That's success. So the money, that's cool. And don't get me wrong, I love making money because I love being able to share it with my family and being connected with my circle, you know, my real circle. That's my family. So that's important to me, but that's not success. Being a tenured professor, that's not success. Those are all external things. And I think that all comes with the success that I have for myself. Once I started loving myself and seeing who I really was and knowing that I'm a voice of God to the world, knowing that everything in me, I got to share it out, the successes started happening. So the worldly successes started happening, external things. You got to find success on the inside first, and then you're able to really have all these worldly successes, but it's really not about those things. And that is the dichotomy of all of this. I'm trying to get you to be a limitless individual, but it's really not about the things you can acquire. It's about what you learn about yourself and realizing that you are truly limitless and you go beyond form. That's what success is to me. The next one is, what role does love play in your life? Sometimes I think love is overrated because I think we have this abstract understanding of what love is. But I was asking my daughter this the other day. I said, you got two options. You got option A, this guy. Man, you have so much fun with this guy. It's like this dude does all of these things for you. Boom, 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 make you feel good. But you know there's no potential with that guy. You know this guy is never going to work, never going to make you feel safe, never going to make you feel valued. Okay, that's option A. Option B, you have some fun with this guy, but not as much fun as you do with option A. But you know that this guy is loyal. This guy going to make sure you feel safe. This guy going to make sure you feel valued. He's going to make sure that you're his everything in his mind. What option do you take? Most people that's seeking quality is going to choose option B. She chose option B. Because see, most women are looking for somebody that can give them security, make them feel safe, make them feel valued. Most men, we're looking for respect and support. And we would take that over the so-called exciting things it is. Because there's a lot of, I've been with some very beautiful women and all of that stuff. There's some women that will excite you in that area, but you don't feel like, yo, I don't feel like I can trust this person. I don't feel like this person is supportive. I don't feel like this person gets me. So you're not going to choose that. So a lot of times we talk about this love, you can grow to fall in love with somebody. You need to make sure you're making choices that will help you develop this life that you want. So the role of love, for me, love is about me loving myself enough to align myself with the right people that's going to give me the life that I desire or the life that I aspire to, achieve in this world. So that's what love plays. Having unconditional love for myself and unconditional love for God allow everything else to line up in my situation. Remember, all things work for the good of those who love the Lord, God, with all their heart, to those who are called according to his purpose. When you are working towards your purpose and you're loving God with all your heart, everything is going to align to it. So people will be like, do you trust your wife? Do you trust this? I don't trust no human. I put my trust in God. So when I put my trust in God, that means anything that God give me is going to work to my favor. Even if it feel like people are trying to get over on me, you can never get over on me. But you know why? Because I'm the righteousness of God. You can't get over on me. You could try to play me. You could try to do everything you want to try to hurt me. It won't happen. And if it won't happen for me, it won't happen for you. Make sure you align yourself with the right source and you never have to worry about people getting over on you. They ain't got no power over you. Trust and believe that. All right, the next question. What is your biggest fear and how do you cope with it? I used to have a lot of fears. And I'm not going to say it's certain things that won't create a little bit of trepidation every now and then. But I will say this. There's not a real fear that I have. I used to have a fear of death. What is it going to be like? You get nervous. Oh my God. I'm just going to stop breathing. I'm not going to exist anymore. And you wake up. That was a real fear. I used to have a fear of dogs. I used to have a fear of heights. All of these things. Now, the fear of dogs and heights, a lot of that comes from your environment. My mom was afraid of dogs. And anybody that know the family know the real situation of why I was afraid of dogs. We ain't going to get into that. But anyway, so that comes from that. My family, a lot of people in my family were scared of heights. But my older brother said something to me like this, Dion. He was like, yo, you really weren't afraid of heights. You was afraid of falling. And I said, yeah, you're right, brother. Because you're not afraid of being up there. You're afraid of falling down. So I was terrified. So what do? I learned to lean into all of the discomfort of my fears and face it. Because this is what I realized. Joy is on the opposite side of fear. Joy is on the opposite side of fear. So I decided to jump out of a plane at 14,000 feet. You know what happens to your fear? You realize the most exciting thing about skydiving is the free fall, the part that could kill you. 14,000 feet, I felt like I was flying. And it came a point in that drop that I said, dang, James, you're going to keep acting like you're scared, or you're going to just relax and enjoy yourself. And it said, let go, let God. Let go, let God. Put my hands up and just enjoy the ride. And once that happened, I said, why am I afraid of fear? If I'm going to die, I'm going to die. James, the outcome of every life is death. So what are you really afraid of? Like, really? What are you really afraid of? You're going to die. Once you accept the fact that you are going to die, what is the worst that can happen? I'll tell you what the worst can happen. I live to be in my 80s or 90s, and I'm on my bed, and my grandbabies are talking to me, and they saying, Grandpa, what is the one thing you wish you would have done? And I look back and I say, I wish I would have, walked this wall, but I was scared to do it because I was afraid of heights. Or I wish I would have, been around dogs more, but I didn't do it because I was afraid of. No, I don't want nothing to be afraid of. And people say, well, what if it kill you? What if it kill you? You're going to die anyway. And today is just as good as any other day. Stop tripping. You're going to die. And if it's your time, you can't run from it. So there is no fears that I really have. But the thing that I would tell people to do, lean into those fears. Know why you're afraid. Know why you're afraid. Because there's a lot of things I would have missed out on if I would have stayed afraid. Some people are afraid to travel. They come up with all types of reasons. Why does somebody want to harm you? What makes you think you're that special? There's a little bit of vanity in that. I've been to a lot of places that could be dangerous, perceived as dangerous or whatever. Hey, great experiences. So I want you to always lean into your fear. All right. How do you handle failure and setbacks? I look at failure as great opportunities, man. I love failure because failure means I'm trying. Yeah, you heard me right. Failure means that you're trying. If you always succeed, then you're doing things that you can do. That's cool. But what about when you do things that maybe might be a little bit more challenging and you won't get your level of success, whatever that is? But failure, first and foremost, means that I'm trying. And the more that I fail, the closer I'm getting to my success. Hear that again. The more that I fail, the closer that I'm getting to my success. So I think about games. I take that shot. I used to take that shot. Boom, miss. Boom, miss. 3 3-pointers in a row. But when the fourth quarter comes, I'm still taking that shot. And you know what tend to happen? You hit that shot in a key moment. Nobody care about the 3 you missed. It's a shot that counted. So life is like that. I could miss all of these shots. When I went to college the first time, I got put out. I had a 1.8 GPA. That's cool. 6 college degrees later. Does it matter? Does it matter that I barely got out of high school? I had high school with a 2.1 GPA, couldn't get a scholarship. Does it matter? I got a scholarship for my PhD. So does it matter? Failure is a great thing. Stop looking at failure as a bad thing. I want people to be able to say, hey, James, you know what, man? You could do this better. Cool. Well, hey, tell me what can I do to be better, with speaking and delivering and reaching people. Cool. I like that. See, you should welcome feedback. If you got a bunch of yes people around you, you need to get a new circle. You need people around you that can tell you how to be better. One of my friends just said something, Elizabeth. I ask her questions all the time. I ask her questions about my speaking career. Ask Catherine questions about my speaking career. Ask my wife. Ask my brothers. Have people around you that's going to challenge you. But if people are always telling you what you want to hear, you need to get a new circle, because those are not the people you need. So it's not a bad thing to fail. And it's never a setback. It's a setup. You know what I'm saying? I used to like the slingshots when I was little. You'll pull it back and you get all that tension and you let it go. And King David slayed the giant with a slingshot. What can you do as you constantly pulling yourself back? Failure, 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 failure. You're working harder, researching, failure, failure, failure. What do you think is going to happen when you release that? You're going to come out on the world. See, this is the thing. A lot of you all, my fans, people that support me, you believe in the message. You see me now and you know the potential. The world hasn't seen all of me yet. But it's just like that failure. There's things I'm learning. That tension is building up. And when it's released, it's going to be released on the world. So this is not going to be a shock to you in years when you all see me on a bigger stage doing things. It's the same thing in your life. But there's a lot of failures that I had, a lot of money that I lost. I'm talking 20s of $25,000 and everything. But it all works for the good of those that love the Lord when you're walking towards your purpose. So don't ever think that it's a failure. It's not a failure at all. What motivates you to get out of the bed each morning? Shoot, man, look. And I get that that's a question. What motivates you to get out of bed each morning? Man, I could breathe. Like, I still have life. Do I really need anything else to motivate me? Look, when I was little, I used to go and see kids in the children's hospital. And they're playing with their toys, loving life, and they got a breathing apparatus on. Yo, how can I ever complain, man? Like, and if you can hear me, you all can hear. If you can see me, you can see. Is that not enough motivation? Is that not? And I get it. That I get some of you all may say, you know what? I don't have the money. Man, I didn't always have the money. Like, look, I kept documents. Negative $75 in the bank. Getting a check for $50. Child support doing this. Dude, I've been there. Been to court. You know, had a lot of issues. But you know what? It still, I would deal with all that stuff and get up. Been to the unemployment office. Worked at Labor Ready when they paid me $75 to put up Lowe's displays. And I got a master's degree. Yeah. And I'm scared. What am I going to do? I got all these kids to take care of. I got this family. I got 4 kids, got a wife. What am I going to do? I'm going to keep working. I'll work at McDonald's if I had to. Don't think that my pride is that great. Don't think my ego is that big. If I got to do something, I'm going to do it. So me having an opportunity to get up, me having an opportunity to talk to you, to give you my heart, that's enough. So you got to find what is it that gets you excited. And maybe you need something specific. Be happy that you have the ability to get one more day, one more shot at being the best version of yourself. Mind, body, and spirit. Every single day, I get an opportunity to be better than what I was the day before. Remember, be better than your best. Never rest on your last success. Be better than your best. Never rest on your last success. I get to be better in every second. That's enough to get you excited. All right, let's see what else. What do you believe happens after you die? Man, that is a good question. I used to believe that, you know, you walk on the streets of gold and you have this mansions. And I realized they didn't even talk like that back in the day. They didn't have mansions. They had castles. They had huts. But they didn't know about mansions. That's more modern day talk. And my thing is, once I started studying what they was able to tell slaves, hey, don't worry about it. Listen to your slave masters. You're going to get heaven when you die. That's cool. And that may be true. Maybe true. I'm getting heaven right now while I'm living. I'm not waiting to die. I want to have the best life that I can have while I'm living. What did Jesus say? Let the dead take care of the dead. Let the living take care of the living. I'm living in this human experience. I don't know what happened when you die. I have no idea. But I do believe that the transition from this body to the spiritual world is a very beautiful connection. That's what I believe. I may not be right, but that's what I choose to believe. I can't tell you what happened. I think whatever you choose to believe in your mind from your accumulated experiences or your accumulated knowledge acquired, your experiences in church or your experiences outside of that, make you believe whatever is going to happen. But I don't think no finite individual could tell another person what happens when they die. I just don't. I think that's an individual thing that you have to believe in. And I know as a collective society, especially Christians or people in church, we have to tell people that this is what happened, but we don't know. That's what faith is. You believe, but I don't know. I'm not God. And I know the Bible say, well, tell people, I'm not worried about all that. Focus on living all you can for this greater source. And whatever happens, happens. Be the God that you want the world to see and allow your heaven to come to you on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day. So I'm not waiting till I die. So that's my thoughts on that. I'm not going to go too much in depth in that. What values are most important to you? How do they guide your decisions? I tell you, my 3 most important values is unconditional love, joy, and finding peace in every situation. It guides me in everything. So regardless how a person responds to me, I need to respond with unconditional love. And I need to be able to find joy in that interaction or that situation. And I need to be able to find the peace, sit in my peace. That's very important to me. You have to identify what are the 3 most important values to you. That varies depending on the person. How do you handle stress and maintain your mental well-being? Well, it's tied to my values. There was a lot of stressful situations that I had when I was in my administrative role. There was a lot of stressful situations that I had, with my wife, kids, things of that nature. And there was a lot of times that I called myself failing in that situation, responding in a manner that I shouldn't. My emotional intelligence wasn't quite as high. What I would do is I would raise my awareness and say, dang, how did I get here? Why did I respond like that? What is really going on with me? And the more I ask myself questions, I would also challenge myself and say, hey, next time you're going to get an opportunity because you will be in conflict again. All right, what are you going to do differently? How are you going to respond? How are you going to be slow to speak? How are you going to be quick to listen? All these things I would do. So I take an introspective dive deep within myself to really challenge myself. So when those situations came again, I would be better. And when I was better in the situation, I will always celebrate that. Celebrate the small wins. So maybe I was able to talk more calmer with a calmer tone. Maybe I was able to listen better and try to understand all of those things. And then eventually, the more you discipline yourself and go through the patterns of making yourself better, you start acting on it instinctively. And all of a sudden you realize like, yo, I conquered conflict. Yeah. And the more you're able to start feeling like peace in that, you start realizing everybody has their own story, their own narrative running in their head. Everybody is the king and queen of their universe. They're the god of their world. I got to try to understand that and respect something in that to allow me to appreciate them, regardless of what it is they're doing. And maybe respecting them and appreciating them mean you got to disassociate with them. Maybe it mean you got to lean into that relationship a little bit more and give them what it is that they want. Meet them where they are. Because the more you know who they are, the more you know how to respond to them and things of that nature. So, but I will say that I'm a big believer in meditation. I'm a big believer in mindfulness. So find something that you can be mindful about that can hold your attention, and find a way to meditate, to get away and have time for yourself. Make sure you always date yourself, whether that's in a car by yourself, maybe there's a restaurant, whatever, but give yourself time to separate. So I would practice on meditating, being mindful, all of those things. I think it will really help you with managing stress, but being able to be locked in mentally, to be a beast. Because it's all about winning in your situation. You feel me? I just almost turned it to DMX right there. You know what I'm saying? DMX was coming back, to live again in me. But anyway, all right. So, okay, we talked about that. What is your definition of a fulfilling and meaningful relationship? I think a fulfilling and meaningful relationship is expressing what it is that you need from this individual, and making sure you sort of help coach and guide them on what it is that you need, but not just a one-way relationship. Make sure you're reciprocating that. What is it that they need? And you create some reciprocal behavior to where you're meeting them, they're meeting you, and it's a mutually beneficial experience for both of you, to where you're constantly growing and evolving to me, that's what I think is a fulfilling and meaningful relationship. You all need to be evolving and growing and bonding together. I think that's very, very important. Whether that is a relationship with your spouse, your partner, or a relationship with your kids, a relationship with your parents or whomever. All right. So, how do you stay true to yourself in a world that is constantly changing? I try not to allow my mind to be diluted with all of the things that I think is negative. So if I'm watching news or something that, constantly make me feel a negative way or starting to allow me to want to engage in gossip or talk about people, I disassociate with it. I stopped watching that stuff. There was a time where I used to watch a lot of, because I do a lot of ID TV. If you see me, I stopped watching that because it started altering my mind, thinking everybody is trying to be murderers and killers. So I protect my mind to answer that question. And I constantly feed my mind with what it is that I want. I feed my mind with optimism, with hope. I feed my mind with a lot of self-help things. I feed my mind with a lot of positive inspiration from speakers or videos. I watch a lot of fitness gurus. I watch a lot of fitness Instagram models and things of that nature to learn how to work out and things of that nature. So I feed myself with what it is that I want. And I try to make sure I don't engage with any negativity. So limiting the negativity and increasing the positive experiences in my life is what helped me stay true to who I am in this world that's constantly changing. And I think change sometimes is a good thing. So I ask people that's younger than me questions to try to learn how to be a better person. Thank you, Elizabeth. I think you are great, as always. All right. This is the last one. If you could choose one superpower, what would it be and how would you use it? Oh, wow. I think you all need to think about that one now, because I want to hear it. Well, if it was one superpower, what would you choose and how would you use it? Superpower for me. I would want to teleport. Like literally. And how would I use it? If I wanted to be in Vancouver, I would just snap, I'll be there. If I want to be in Barcelona, snap, be there. That's what it is. I want to see as much of this world before I die. I feel like it's a beautiful world. It's beautiful people out here. I want to see as many as these people and places and food experiences as I can before I die. I think it is extremely important to see as much of God's beautiful world as possible before I die. But I would love to know what is the superpowers that you all would choose. I'd love to hear that. So those are the questions that I had. I think most importantly, always stay curious. Always ask yourself questions. Questions that can make you better. Questions that can challenge you mentally, spiritually, and physically to be a better version of yourself. If you're doing those things, you are truly working and walking towards living a limitless life, and you are being the righteousness of God. I don't care what religion that you have. If you are constantly trying to walk in the perfect image of this greater creator, you are truly on the path that you're supposed to be on. And remember, like Robert Frost said, the path taken or two roads diverge in the yellow wood. I'm sorry. The one less taken is the one that is the most difficult to take. So realize if everybody's going this way, you want to look at it, question it, and say, maybe I need to go that way. Don't follow the crowd, follow you. And a lot of times when you're following yourself, it's going to lead you on this very narrow road. Remember, it say in the Bible, the way to hell is broad. The way to God is very narrow. So what is that narrow path that you're walking on? I know that you'll make the right decisions. Be limitless and trust yourself, my friends. And remember, today is a glorious day. And for 86,400 seconds, I will give my excellence and my best until I'm laid to rest. I'm abundantly blessed and never stressed. Be better than your best and never rest on your last success. Check your life. Be limitless. Be limitless, my people.